Check, check, 1, 2. Regular meeting of the Board of Managers of the Marvin Independent School District being held April 4th, 2022, beginning at 5 p.m. in the middle school library, 678 Success Drive. A live stream and recording of the meeting will be available for viewing on the district YouTube channel. The subject to be discussed or considered upon which any form of action may be taken are listed below. Items do not have to be taken in the same order as shown on this meeting notice. Unless removed from the consent agenda, item identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. Roll call. Board Member Terry. Present. Board Member Ehlers.
Present.
And I'm Board Member Johnson. Board Managers Johnson. Okay. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public comments?
There were none posted.
No public comments. All right. At this time, we're going into closed session at 5:09. Prudent to Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, deliberation and of personnel matters. In closed session. We're back in open session at 5:20. And we have the superintendent report.
Good evening, Board President Johnson, members of the board. Tonight, we will begin with Vision 2025, Key Strategic Measure 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3.
Good afternoon, Board President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson. This afternoon, I will be presenting to you our Vision 2025 Key Strategic Measures 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3. 5.1 is promotion of extra and co-curricular activities. We are measuring this by our extra and co-curricular club fair days. Program objective is to have one club fair day per semester to increase student interest and participation in clubs and our activities. At our last meeting on December 13th, for this goal, we were off track. I'm happy to announce that we are currently on track to meet our goals with this key strategic measure. A brief recap of our prior meeting and deliverables from our last meeting. Create a short promotional video to promote upcoming fair days. We completed that. And then assemble a committee and hold an initial meeting. This item was also completed in February. Some of our immediate needs going forward is communicate with our parents and our community via social media and school messenger about our upcoming club fair day. Also communicate with our students via school announcements, social media, and school newsletters. Some key takeaways on our path going forward. We still need to establish procedures and guidelines regarding the expenditures by each organization that we do start, and also create a flyer to promote the upcoming fair day. We are going to have our fair day on May 15th, so that's coming up soon. Moving on to key strategic measure 5.2, extra and co-curricular offerings based on student interest. We're measuring this by extra and co-curricular student interest survey. Program objective is to increase offerings for extra and co-curricular activities. At our last meeting in December, we were on track. I'm proud to say that we're still currently on track to meet our goals for this strategic measure. Brief recap of our last meeting on the deliverables was to create a staff survey to identify interest for team club sponsors. We completed that item. And then number 2 was create an extra and co-curricular activities handbook. We have not completed this item because the target completion date for that was in May of 2022. So we're still on track to meet that goal and complete it by May of 2022. Immediate needs for this strategic measure: establish a baseline number, percentage of students and at least that are participating in at least one extra co-curricular activity, and then to create a handbook to include athletics and activities, so that way we're all working one together and we have one handbook for athletics and our co-curricular activities. Some key takeaways and path going forward. We need to create an extra co-curricular handbook. We're working on that. Our target completion date is May of 2022. And then also come up with 2 new offerings for our students, and that needs to be completed by December of 2022. So we're definitely on track to meet those goals. Moving on to 5.3, positive brand identity for extra and co-curricular activities. We're measuring this by our marketing tool audit. Program objective is to examine the district's promotional environment. At our last meeting in December, we were on track. We're still currently on track to meet our goals for this strategic measure. Brief recap of our last meeting was to complete billboard advertising, newspaper advertising. Both of those are not complete yet because we still have our target goal of August 2022 and April of 2022 for these 2 items. Immediate needs going forward: print advertising, reaching out to the Marlin Democrat to make sure that we're promoting what we're doing in our district on the Marlin Democrat. TV advertising, we're aware that not all of our stakeholders have access to internet, so making sure that we reach everybody with TV advertisement, newspaper advertising. And item number 3, like I said, just reaching all of our stakeholders. Key takeaways, path forward, going forward, we need a brand identity for 2 activities. So as we create new activities, we also need to have a brand for each activity. So our target goal is to create 2 brand identities for those clubs, and our target goal is set for August of 2022. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Next, we'll have curriculum-based assessment data number 3, an action plan for Marlin High School for Dr. Sharon DeLoach, interim principal, Marlin High School.
Good evening, Board President Johnson, Board of Managers, Ms. Terry, Ms. Ellers, Superintendents of School, Dr. Henson. Thank you for the opportunity to share our Marlin High School community-based assessment number 3 data and plan of action. Our CBA number 3 data has provided us with a deeper understanding of our academic progress, which allows us to truly reflect interventions required to support teacher instructional frameworks and student learning recovery to increase student performance. Our Algebra 1 data reflects a comparison, Thank you. Our Algebra 1 data reflects on a comparison of our 2021 STAR and our Spring 2022 CBA number 3. The data analysis of Spring CBA number 3 provide a greater indicator of the level of learning progression because the assessment is a STAR release test mirroring TEK's performance standards. The Algebra 1 STAR data is a true reflection of student progression because it measures students' 2021 8th grade math, whereby these students are now Algebra 1 students. We have 5% growth rate in the approaches standard, which signals our students showing some knowledge, but will need additional support and interventions in the coming year. 28% of our students scoring or meets standard, which shows students have a strong knowledge in grade level course content and are on pace to progress to the next level. 9% of our students scored in the mastery level of Algebra 1, which indicates they are on track for college and career readiness. They think critically and apply knowledge and skills in both familiar and unfamiliar contexts. Mastery grade level standards increased by 4%. English 1. Our 9th grade students made significant gains on the CBA number 3. As likeness to Algebra 1, the data is a true reflection of student progress because the 2021 STAR is the 8th grade English score for these students. The meet standard percentage increased by 19%, from 30% to 49%, indicating our students showing a strong knowledge in grade level course content. These students are generally able to think critically and apply knowledge in familiar contexts. 13% of our students have a grade level mastery of English 1, indicating they're on a path for college and career readiness. Our English 2 data.
1 second. It's one thing, board community, to mention the English 1 assessment is a very difficult and complex assessment. The 8th grade assessment is more basic middle school skills on grade level. So though we might see a slight decline in approaches, we see a 19% gain in meets at that higher standard. And we still have a month of instruction left. So credit has to go to our teachers and, of course, to our campus leadership team for the gains that we're seeing at the meets level. And I know that that slight decline in approaches can easily be turned around if our meets has improved by 19%.
Thank you, Dr. Henson. We will move to our English 2. Our English 2 performance has increases in each standard. Approaches increased to 6%, meets increased by 11%, and mastery increased from 0% to 4%. This data is a realistic view of the students' progress because the 2021 STAR English 1 students are now the current English 2 students who took the CBA number 3, which has more rigorous standards.
And one thing to mention, 24% of our students passed English 1 last year. We are already at 63% this year. 10% were at the meets level. If I'm not mistaken, can you go back one slide, please, Mr. Galloway? We're already at 49% this year on the same assessment. So having a more aligned and focused effort on English and literacy at the high school level has proven to have shown drastic gains for all of our students.
Thank you. So our plan of action. Our plan of action is in our professional learning communities. They will be extended to after-school planning sessions. We have done this over the past month, and we have found that our after-school planning sessions are more formidable for our teachers. They take their time, they're able to work together to look at data sets, and they work very collaborative as a group across curriculums. Next is our content-focused data digs. These digs drive direct application with cross-curricular learning groups to redesign instructional strategies, working with our academics department to help us identify key components of what our data means and where we need to move. We take their recommendations to make sure that our learning groups are working toward these instructional strategies. Next is our intervention groups, targeting our retesters. These retesters will be targeted by reach outs to them individually as students and to their families to help them understand that they are needed to be present in our after-school intervention sessions and in our Saturday instructional camps that we plan to conduct in the near future. Also, increased monitoring from CBA assessments, which come on a 6 weeks to 9 weeks interval, to weekly checkpoints. Instead of depending on that gap, what we're going to start doing is looking at our weekly checkpoints and make course corrections and redirections in our curriculum weekly. That concludes our data for our CBA number 3 and our plans of support. Are there any questions?
Yes, ma'am. You said they happen every 6 to 9 weeks. So currently you're at the third CBA. So on your charts, we don't have CBA 1 or CBA 2 to compare those with. Is that because they're different tests, or what? Why were they not put on the chart?
I'm going to answer that. So the reason why they were not put on the chart is because we're monitoring for our EOC monitors Domain 2 for growth, and in order to have an accurate reflection of growth, we actually look at like assessments. So the CBA 3 was actually a STAR release, so it mirrored the STAR. Our CBA 1 and 2 were tied directly to the unit test that they were given, so it was a true formative of what was being taught in the class. So it wouldn't be, it would be apples to oranges in comparing CBA data points.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Are there any other questions? If there's no questions on the high school data for CBA number 3, I will move to our English Learner Support Plan and student tracking. The goal of Marlin ISD's ESL program is for our English learners to become competent in listening, speaking, reading, and writing in the English language. Through the development of literacy and academic skills, our English learners will advance in proficiency in each of the domains. Currently, we have 158 students who are English learners, and the population is mostly in the elementary area. 18% of our district sub-pop is English learners in our district. Our ESL models encompasses 2 models, and that is our content-based model, which is elementary, pre-K through 2nd grade. Our content-based model is in these grade levels because those are contained classrooms, and every teacher sees all of the curriculum. They oversee all of the curriculum for those pre-K through 2nd graders. Our upper elementary and secondary, it's the pull-out model, which is 3 through 12. Our English learners receive their SIOP, their sheltered instruction, and their targeted strategies from their ELAR teachers. Next slide. We have established English learner support systems in 3 different categories this year. Our goal, number 1, is to have more ESL certified teachers in our district. So we began a piloted academy for our district called the ESL Teacher Prep Academy. This initiative is designed to support teachers in preparation for the Texas ESL certification. We have face-to-face meetings and also virtual meetings twice a month. We are scheduled for 13 sessions, and in this particular academy, we have a total of 13 teachers and other staff members that are attending this academy. Our attendance in the academy, virtual and in person, of our participants is over 90%. We have received fantastic feedback from our participants, and also our facilitator, Dr. Katina Thomas, who is a ESL specialist for Prairie View University and also a dean of instruction there. She has reported back that our teachers are on track to do well when they sit in the next session for testing. Our next initiative is our TELPIS Tuesdays. We are very excited about TELPIS Tuesdays. This program targets intentional practices regarding reading, writing, speaking, and listening for L students. But most importantly, this year, we target our TELPIS Tuesdays to begin to have practice sessions with our L students. There are reach outs to families and parents, also individual letters sent home to our families and parents to help them understand that this TELPIS Tuesday is available to their student, and they also had an opportunity to customize their sessions for their learners. Also, we even went more rigorous in our TELPIS rater training. Our English language arts teachers participated in the required TELPIS rater trainings. The trainings prepared teachers to rate the English language proficiencies of the TELPAS test. We calibrated, and a significant number of our teachers passed the calibration. We just completed our TELPAS testing. The window just closed April 1st, which was Friday. And our TELPAS tests now are being sent up to the Texas Education Agency. We are looking for our results to come back probably mid-June or July of this year. Our next slide. Our additional ESL supports. At the beginning of the year, during the district-wide student enrollment, our parents received their home language surveys, which identifies our potential English learners. At that particular time, when they are identified by our PEIMS department, they are sent to the ESL coordinator's office. The ESL coordinator's office checks to make sure that if the students are labeled as Spanish speaking as their home language, that they're either in the ESL program. If not, we make sure that they receive the oral language proficiency test within the 20-day guideline on which the state requires. Our LPAC committee has workshops into where we work together to make sure that we all review our parent home language surveys. Also, to be in compliance with Title III, we make sure that our teachers complete our beginning of the year, our mid-year, and we'll be working on our end of the year LPAC accommodations so that we make sure that our students who are progressing receives the right amount of accommodations, and those that need additional supports, those are also identified. We also digitized our ESL processes and student data this year. We worked with our Region 12 coaches and also our DMAC partners and uploaded every student that was targeted as ESL into our DMAC system. We uploaded also our accommodations, our LPAC meetings. Therefore, if anyone needed to know anything right away about our ESL students, they don't have to go to the old-timey file drawers anymore. They can just click a button, and everything from STAR testing will all be in one place for our ESL students. We also participate in Bulldog Academies, in which we provide our parents information and also offer them an opportunity to ask any questions and receive educational information about our L students and how parents can help with the process. Next slide. We are very excited about our TELPS Tuesdays tracking growth. The total number of our ESL students participating in our ESL program is 158. The number of students that attended our TELPS Tuesdays is 67, some attending all 7 sessions. And so when we disaggregated the data, we wanted to make the most appropriate and significant progress by looking at the average gain of our students. So what we did is we identified our students who were attending 4 or more sessions. And these students who attended 4 or more sessions, which was over 50%, we looked at their gains as a totality. And those students who attended at least 4 or more sessions had an 11% gain on their CBA 3 data. And we definitely want to give kudos to our middle school campus. Our middle school campus rocked the TELPS Tuesdays with over 28 students or more in each session on Tuesdays. Our language proficiency ratings. This is from our TELPS data from spring 2021. And with this, as you see, our domains in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, the purple, the gold, and the green, it really shows our students are progressing with their English language learning, but we still have work to do, and we want to make sure that our students at least advance by 1 domain proficiency this setting of the TELPS, and we're looking for our students who are advanced and advanced high, and hopefully we can exit out some of our students and monitor them within the guidelines of the state. So our action plans and next step. We are taking measurable action plans supported by the TEA Office of L Support Division. Ongoing district requirement effective August 22 is for our pre-K through 12 content teachers to obtain their ESL certification. We have also provided instructional program to our teachers, such as the ESL instructional playlist that offers classroom strategies targeting our TELPS domains. We offer our students and, our teachers an opportunity to access the ESL Google Classroom that houses additional resources. We have paid incentives for our after-school programs that targeted our ESL interventions. And ongoing, we would like to continue our Help is Tuesdays because with an 11% gain, we believe that we could really get 100% of our ESL students in those seats, and we can advance them and exit them out to English language proficiency. That concludes our report for our ESL programming. Are there any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
In your 2020-2021 taper report, there was no ESL bilingual teachers on record. How many do you have this year?
Currently, in our elementary, we have 4 certified ESL,
Okay,
and in our secondary, currently, we do not have any.
secondary, okay.
We are on a waiver. We do have ESL certified other staff members, special education. We have an ESL certified teacher, and our dyslexia teacher is also ESL certified, who both sit on the LPAC committee
Okay.
and work with us when it comes to handling our ESL guidelines.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will have District Professional Development Plan, Summer 2022, by Dr. Stacy Parker.
Good afternoon, Board President Johnson, members of the board, Superintendent Henson. Tonight, I'm going to go over the District Professional Development Plan. We wanted to ensure, as we plan moving forward in terms of our professional development sessions, that we pay close attention to our strategic plan. We also know that by putting our students first, we commit to ensuring that we foster the learning environment to the best academic performance for all. And so providing our teachers quality professional learning experiences support the alignment of our goals and our core values. So this is a driver for the foundation of how we're moving forward with our professional learning. So we have our areas that we focus on as it relates to our strategic plan. Of course, we know that our emphasis are on early literacy, middle math, and then in addition to that, our career, college career readiness. And then we're also going to focus moving forward on social emotional learning and on quality Tier 1 instruction. So our teachers, they're going to have a choice that are for sessions this summer that are aligned to one of those key areas. So for our plan, we are moving into a cohort model of support. And so we have divided our teachers into 3 cohorts. So we will train our teachers by pre-K through 2nd grade. We'll move in one cohort, 3rd through 5th grade, and then 6th through 7th grade. So our content sessions that we provide will be tailored to the needs of those teachers in that grade level, and it'll give us an opportunity to give them more focused, targeted support so that they can collaborate and partner with teachers in their like content grade levels and content areas. Our dates are June and July of 2022. Most sessions will be full-day sessions, and our PD sessions will include sessions offered in Marlin ISD, but primarily at our Region 12 Service Center. Our teachers will be compensated for attending sessions this summer. Our compensation plan is for $200 per 3 hours, giving them $400 for a full day session. Up to $1,200 will allow them 3 full day sessions of training in the summer. Plus, we are also going to allot for registration costs that we will cover for any Region 12 sessions that they may pay for. Most of our Region 12 sessions are free to us because we are a part of the consortium, the group, and so, but there may be a few, and we will cover that. Teachers must choose, however, a priority or content-based session just so that we ensure that they are attending sessions that align to the strategic plan as well as our goals around quality Tier 1 instruction. I'm going to kind of zoom in on this. So what our next steps are, we are finalizing our PD catalog for the summer and our compensation plan, as I just presented to you, with your approval of this plan. We plan to present the teachers and the staff with this information no later than Monday, April 18th, as we know that they can plan out if they had, plans for summer. I may attend in June, vacation in July, or vice versa. I want to give them that flexibility and then communicate our expectations around the sessions that we chose and why some are indicative of being coded priority. And so just to highlight, if you can see, we did break down our catalog. We'll have pre-K through second, and then there's a list of courses, and they could easily see, if I teach math or if I teach literacy, I can see. You may have to strain. You'll have a copy of this, and it will also, when finalized, be updated on our website. And then they'll have in red what's considered priority in your area. So that's one that we really want you to go to if you participate. Third through fifth, and you'll see content sessions for all, and then 6th through 12th grade, secondary, same format. So the final list will be updated, finalized, and move forward. We are partnering, again, like I said, with Region 12 to fill in any gaps of sessions that we may need, or getting the feedback of some teachers, like, we really want more on labs. They're working with us to provide additional sessions if we need it.
And Board President Johnson, member of the board, one of our main points of the plan is to focus on instruction when the student sees it first. So we call that Tier 1 instruction. A lot of times we talk about tutoring and intervention, but our goal is to have a plan that'll help better prepare the teacher, so when they deliver that first taught instruction, the student can begin to internalize and hopefully learn it at a quicker and faster pace.
Yes. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
Next, we will have 2022-2023 employee contracts by Mr. Jesse Bustamante.
Board President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson, this afternoon I'll be presenting to you our 2022-2023 employee contracts. We are at our next phase in our employee contract timeline. Today I'm presenting to you all of our contract types as information. At our next boarding on April 19th, I will be presenting to you all of our employee contracts for consent. And then on April 25th, our employee contracts will be emailed out on our frontline system that we use to send out the employee contracts. And then on May 11th will be the deadline for employees to electronically sign and submit their contract online. Moving on to our 2022-2023 employee contract types. These contract types are identical to last year's contracts types. We have two types of contracts, probationary and term contracts. Probationary contracts are usually awarded to employees that are new to the district or new to the profession. And then our term contracts are awarded when a legally permitted probationary contract has ended. The Teacher 187 contract type is our contract type for teachers and our registered nurse position. Our 207 teacher and teacher leader contract type is for our deans of instruction, deans of students, instructional coaches, our specialists, and our special education coordinator. Moving on to our administrator 207 contract type. This is for our assistant principals. And then the counselor and teacher leader administrator contract type for 207 is for our counselors in our district. The administrator 207 contract is for our assistant principals, like I just said, and then the administrator 226 contract type is for our campus principals and our central office administrators. Are there any questions on the contract types? Thank you.
Website vendor by Mr. Adam Lejeune.
President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson. Today I am presenting to you the two finalists in our website vendor comparison that was done over the past several months. Our two finalists are Finalsite and Apogee. Both of them are modern school website vendors who can handle both our size, that site that we're trying to put together, and also a lot of the unique features that we'd like to implement that we do not currently have, but that we are interested in implementing for the future. The differences are that Finalsite lists on their website that they've won over 215 plus awards from school PR associations, similar to the TSPRA awards that we won that were presented to you in the last board meeting. They have excellent and robust static page creation tools in addition to their mobile tools. They have integrated accessibility features, which are more advanced than the ones that we currently have for people who need accessibility features such as screen readers or picture describing, things like that. And they have, in their proposal, they wanted us to have a site for every school so that each school can have and manage their own content and target the information on that site to the population of each school. It's also the least expensive at $5,000 setup cost, $6,000 per year after all of our discounts. Apogee, again, is a modern and very proficient site, but they have a mobile-first philosophy, which means that they have simplified static content, which most of our content on our website is static. And they do have some integrated features that are not as robust as Finalsite. It is extremely easy to use, so it's just like social media, meaning it's really easy for anyone just to push a button and have the content go up. But again, the trade-off for having it be really, really easy in that way is that it's not as robust for compelling static content, which, as I said, is most of our content on our website. It is also more expensive, $7,500 setup cost, and $8,840 per year after those discounts. So we will have our final selection for you on the next board meeting for consent, but right now this is just information explaining the differences between the two. Are there any questions about our website vendor? Next, I'd like to tell you about the additional support contract that we are entering into with Big Thought, who was already approved by the board as our design and implementation partner for the additional days school year program. First, they sent us a really nice blurb describing how they were working with us. I wanted to highlight that they said that Marlin ISD has been one of our strongest client districts in the ADSI-PEP program from the start. Marlin ISD was the first district to be spotlighted and praised by TEA in a community workshop setting for work in part one of the strategic design and continuous improvement tool. So they've actually been really helpful in helping us to develop all of our plans that we've been submitting in the different strategic plan submissions. And I wanted to say, after we put this slideshow together, I did get information back from strategic plan number 3, and the TEA agrees that we have a strong plan, and they're excited to see how we implement that plan in order to help us get out of IR. They did have a couple suggestions, obviously, and we'll definitely integrate those into our plan. But I wanted to move on here. Big Thought has, as I said, been previously approved as our implementation partner in a previous school meeting. We are going to use the remainder of our T-Class 8A funds, which were donated by the Wallace Foundation, to pay for that additional support. And just a little bit of background, they've been in the game for about 40 years, but as Big Thought for the last 20 years. They've worked for City of Dallas, Dallas ISD, and lots of other districts in doing these types of programs. So what we are contracting with them is that they are going to provide a curriculum-aligned scope and sequence that matches our high-quality instructional materials that were selected for the program for the full 25 days. They are going to provide additional hands-on activities and projects that have products for our students to take home that focus on that support our focus TEKs that we selected for the program. They are providing scripting for each teacher lesson so that teachers don't have to write out their lesson plans. All they'll have to do is read the plan, internalize the plan, and then pull their supplies from our supply store in order to get those projects going. And they're also providing the supply lists for us so that we can buy the correct supplies. Another big part of their additional support is that they are providing professional development for us on May 31st for those ADSE program teacher participants, including that lesson integration so that we can match enrichment with academics to help provide supports and scaffolding structures for the lesson internalization activities from those teachers. And they are also giving us a lot of SEL and climate and culture training. Climate and culture and SEL is a very, very big part of our program this year. And with their help, we'll be able to help the teachers figure out exactly what that means, along with another consultant, Ms. Bogar, who's been here before, who I think you guys know. Our final cost for this whole project is TBD, but I will say that it is from the remainder of our T-Class 8A funds, which were provided for a district implementation partner. And we also will use some of our 8C funds, which were provided, again, by the Wallace Foundation and TEA for operational support for T-Class. So all of this extra is coming from those grants. Are there any questions about this update?
(2022-2023) Budget Workshop by Mr. Lawrence Galloway.
Good evening, Board President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson. I present to you our second of what will be several budget workshops as we get ready to prepare for our 2022-23 budget to approve it. First, I would like to inform you of an update in the highlighted area. Previously, I presented to you at the last board meeting that we projected our federal revenue in the federal 59XX line that you see that's highlighted was $104,000. As you can see, that's an increase now to $300,800. The reason for the increase was better alignment with our Medicaid funds as we worked with the co-op for some of the services that we can get recoup through Medicaid, making sure our random moment time samples, numbers, and information is accurate. And so we saw a significant increase, and we adjusted what we projected we would get back based on our report that we just closed out on April 1st from our partner MSB. So that increased our total revenue projection to $11,635,752, which previously was approximately $300,000. So that is a significant increase. As you can see now, previously the number in the red box was below our previous year's projection, and now we are projected to come a little higher than that. So we are still good in making sure that the budget matches and that we are able to operate and still have all of our initiatives and academic programming in Marlin Independent School District. So this again is the trend over the last couple of years of where we have failed with revenue. And as you can see, it's been somewhat consistent over the last couple of years as we're getting ready to come out of COVID. We hopefully will see attendance to continue to increase. Our ADA continues to increase as we saw some great gains. Dr. Henson and I reviewed with some partners today. We saw some great gains in attendance that we had in the first through fourth 6 weeks, but we're working steadily to make sure this fifth and sixth 6 weeks can come on. Hopefully the field will attract more students to make sure they come to school so they get a chance to use the field and we get that ADA number up. But I'm just proud to say that our revenue now is matching what we have had previously, so we won't have to make any significant cuts, but we will be able to maintain. What you will see here is the projected salaries as of now. This is just as of today, as we continue to refine the budget, work with departments, work with leadership to make sure that salaries are accurate. We're right now sitting at $7,545,000. Now this, I must also point out to you, this is what's called on behalf that we get with TRS that we do get from the state is calculated in this number. And that's approximately $450,000. But so far, this is what we're projecting salaries to be, which I know we still have a long ways to go to make sure that we get accurate numbers, work with Mr. Bustamante and the Human Resources Department to make sure contracts match with what we have in the system as we go into the 22-23 school year. So that you can see other functions, all other objects from 6,200 down to 64 or 6,600 for our maintenance department. This is what we have budgeted thus far, $2,158,496. So we're continuing to work and having those one-on-one conversations with department leaders, budget managers. Everyone knows now they have until April 15th. Transportation, maintenance, we're giving a shout out for having their budgets already into the system, ready to go. I told them they couldn't add any more money. I've didn't really block them out, but I told them I blocked them out. There's no more money available. But they are very proud to be the first group of individuals to have their budget in so that we can get an accurate account for what we will look like financially going into next school year. I will say that, as you all know, as we've experienced personally, also operationally, we will see increases in our maintenance department, and we also will see some increases in child nutrition just because of costs. As the cost of fuel, cost of food, cost of transportation, and logistics has continued to rise, and we're starting to see those costs passed on to consumers such as us when we get invoices currently to making sure that we get items here. So as we continue to work with the budget, we're working with vendors to try to get a finite cost to make sure that we stay within the realm of what we're projected to have. So far, as I mentioned to you, our budget did increase. Our projected revenue increased to $11,635,000. I presented to you both the salaries and other budgeted objects, the $7 million and the $2 million, totaling the $9,703,579. With our remaining budget to budget left is $1,932,174. That money is what will take care of those other functions that you did not see on the previous slide as we continue to work on the budget. Our next presentation will be on May the 2nd as we continue to refine those numbers and we have a more accurate budget. Currently, we're budgeting at about 83.4% with the numbers that we do have available. And we will continue to work with individuals as we align them to our strategic mission and goals going into 22-23.
So Board President Johnson, members of the board, despite now seeing a slight increase in revenue, Mr. Galloway mentioned a very valid point. The cost of goods has increased. The cost of fuel has increased. And so we're going to provide you with very conservative estimates and budgets, but we're not going to be conservative when it comes to curriculum and instruction. That's one area where we're not going to scale back from. So there might be certain areas that we have to scale down in, and we're going to work with those budget managers, those leaders, those coaches, for the frank fact that if the cost of goods has increased, the cost of food has increased, we're going to feed our children, we're going to educate our children, so we have to make sure that we allocate those funds or possibly pull them from somewhere. So you heard it from me first.
And as a reminder, as presented at the last board meeting as well, that we also run a supplemental $8 million budget in federal funds that do take care of a lot of activities and initiatives that are in our curriculum and academics department. Some of those additional activities that we do have, like elementary, middle, as well as high school, will hopefully, if we do have any cuts in our general fund, we'll offset and we'll be able to utilize those funds to make sure we can continue those programs. Are there any questions?
Mr. President, this concludes the superintendent's report.